Okay, so you've got your game sort of set up now, but you don't want this girl. You want to make your own character with their own life, ambitions, needs, drive. I'm going to show you how to do that, and if you make it through to the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to set this whole thing up so you can efficiently navigate between your characters. And if you love RPG game development, tips, tricks, and tutorials, then make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever I drop a hot new video. Firstly, you want to navigate over to the left-hand side of the screen where it says database and click on that, and that's going to open up your database editor. It's automatically going to load up the cast section of the database manager. As you can see, there's casts, items, skills, classes, state definitions, and attribute definitions. We just want to stay in the cast section. Firstly, enlarge this menu so you know what you're working with. Now on the left hand side here, you can see all of your current cast. You can see Levelette, who's our current main character, as well as Hero B, Elf A. You can also see a bunch of different NPCs, as well as a bunch of different enemies. That's because in RPG Developer Bakin, all of your casts, friendly, enemy, whatever, is located in this cast menu here. Now, we've already established we don't want to be Levelette. So what we're going to do is click this big plus sign here, which will be add. And it's going to ask for your walking animation. In your asset picker, that's just in 3D stamps, 2D stamps, 2D casts, hero casts, and I'm going to click Grand Mage. Now at the very top here, we can give him a name, so we'll just call him Arkansin. And right below that is a description. Arkansin was once a powerful wizard but lost all of his abilities in a game of poker. He wanders the lands looking for the gambler to reclaim his spells. Now underneath that you've got custom event settings. You don't need to worry about this for now unless you're creating an event, and we're not really creating an event, we're just creating a character. Below that you can choose the icon image. Think of this as just like the face image for your character. In hero casts, we're just going to go to Grand Mage, for layouts, and select the face. Then you've got graphic for layout. What this is what it's going to show when you're in the stats menu. So we're just going to go back to Grand Mage, for layouts, and we'll give you his full standing image. In a video in the future, I will explain how to import your own custom graphics, but not today. Now up the top here, you've got 5 sub-menus. You've got Basic, Equipment and Abilities, Battles, Effects, and Others. So starting over in Basic, you can select what category this cast is. He can either be an enemy, an ally, or both. We're just going to say he's an ally. You can select his initial starting level, between 1 and 99 being the cap. You can select his growth speed, which will be how fast he levels up, between either late bloomer, slightly late, average, slightly fast, and precocious. Below that you've got fixed skill. This is where you can select a skill that the character will always have access to no matter what level. So we'll just give him access to the fire spell no matter what. Below that you've got class and subclass, which is essentially the same thing. You could select him to be a wizard, and then his subclass to be a beast tamer, meaning he's going to take effects, attributes, and all of that from both classes. We don't really need to worry about that for now, so we're just going to make him a wizard. I'll explain classes in a later video as well. Below this you've got attribute resistance, which automatically starts off with a resistance to fire, because everyone knows that humans are very resistant to fire. You can select if this character has resistances to any of the attributes. We will go over attributes in a future video, but for now we're just going to select none. Over on the right hand side we've got growth factors. Now to fully see this menu you are going to need to grab this middle part here and drag that back so you can see the abilities, initial value, basic, and growth type. You can also drag these sections back as well if that's easier. Now you've got the abilities, which are your HP, MP, attack power, magic power, defense power, agility, evasion, accuracy, and poison damage reduction rate. You can choose their initial values, so it starts off with him having 30 HP and 10 MP. He's a wizard, so we should probably give him 30 MP. We'll increase his magical power as well to 20. Basic is how many points will be attributed to the character's stats on every level up. So every time this character levels up, they're going to gain a basic of 5 points to their health score. Again, I'm just going to increase this a bit for MP as well as magic power. Now over in growth types, just like with growth speed, which tells you how fast you'll level, growth types tells the character how fast to level up each specific skill. So if we wanted his attack power to level up slowly, we'd find attack power and go growth type, slightly slowed down. Magic power, slightly accelerated. MP, accelerate. And state resistances is, as the name says, you can increase this character's evasion. Let's say if they were a rogue, you'd increase their evasion. You can increase the character's attack power. Let's say they're a barbarian. You might choose to give them 50% more attack. We won't. In fact, we're going to make him slightly weaker because he's a mage. You can reduce resistance, which is your overall resistance to things. Confuse and charm, paralysis, sleep, less HP, and instant death. You can change how resistant your character is to each of those different states. Now, if we click over to equipment and abilities, this is where we're able to see the different equipment and abilities that the character can use. Over here in the initial equipment, we can see there's slots for weapons, armor, headgear, body armor, and 2 accessories. So if I wanted him to start with a staff, I would click here for item to be assigned, click into the items menu in the asset picker, and take this sage rod. And that's the item he's gonna start with. I can also fix this weapon to the character so that he can only use a sage rod. You can't equip anything else. And that's the initial starting gear for this character. Skills to be learned, again, self-explanatory. These are skills that this character can learn. Now, because he's a mage, and let's say he's more of like a dark mage or like an elemental magic mage, we'd want him to learn fire, ice, thunder, and all of that. But we might not want him to learn things like healing or sexy eye. Fuck. Over in the usable items, we can see which items this character can use. So if we wanted to, we could say this guy specifically can't use a knife. Or because we know he's a wizard, we could click over to classes and then disable the knife. And clicking back over the cast, you'll see that the knife is disabled for him because he's the wizard class. It's the same for all the different items, weapons, armor, etc. Over under battles, because we're just creating a character and not an enemy, we don't have to worry about most of this. We'll go over that in a different video, but we do have to look at this battle command menu. And these are the list of commands that come up when it's his turn in battle. You've got attack, guard, skills, items, and you can add more commands if you want, such as Poopy Doop, and when you select Poopy Doop, it will charge your MP by 50. Over in effects, you've got an effect for barehanded attacks, so that's if the character doesn't have any weapons equipped. So we can go to Particles, Basic Set, Battle Effects, and that will be the battle effect if he has no weapons equipped. You can go Effect on KO, and every time that this character gets knocked out in battle, if you were so inclined, you could have an explosion. Over in the other section, we've got a couple of different things we can toggle. You can register the picture into like a character picture book and like say his habitat. So let's say forest, I don't know. This is just flavor and you're probably just not gonna use that. For general events, you can tick him to take no damage. I don't see why you'd do that. You can generate it in the air, which is an okay thing to do, especially if you're not that good on your 3D placement. Generally, you don't need to do it, but you know, I usually like to keep generate in air, just so that when the character loads, it loads a teeny bit off the ground and there's no chance of it clipping through.
I'm watching you right now, and I know that you haven't clicked the like button, so do that. Have you done it? Thank you.
You can tick no collision with other generated events. I don't see why you'd do that unless you're making a ghost character. You can generate priority, and what that means is that if there is an event limit on maps, and if that map reaches its event limit, this will keep priority over the other events. The other events will start getting deleted off the map. You can generate a sound for this character. I don't see the reason you would. You can generate a maximum number of events that exist on the screen at a certain time. That caps out at 200. So keep that in mind, you can only have 200 events on one screen. You can also only generate a maximum of 10 events at a time. Now, shooting interval and burst, you'd really only use if you're creating a shooting game. And so that's just, do I want to generate 30 bullets at once? Or do I want there to be a 0.5 second difference between when my first bullet is shot and my second bullet is shot? Again, for an RPG, not necessary. A lot of these event disappearing conditions are only really relevant for events and not characters. So if you were using a character, I don't see why you would have an event disappearing condition. Now, I did promise that if you stay to the end of this video, I would tell you how to make a more efficient process in this database manager. So here's what we're going to do. Over here on the top left, right next to add, you'll see this little folder button. What I'm going to do is click so I can add a new folder. And I'm just going to call this folder, by clicking on the name once, main cast. I'm going to drag all of the heroes into the main cast folder. And then I can lock that off. Then I'm going to make another folder, and I'm going to call this folder NPC. Then what I'm going to do is grab all of the NPCs and drag them into that folder. Lastly, I'm going to create another folder, enemies, and drag all of the enemies into that folder. Now, instead of having to navigate through each and every different bit of cast, you've segregated them, consolidated them into easy to read files and folders. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video where we talk about making your very first battle.